Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo.
Why, hello, Internet. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for Gaming Gumbo, your weekly, gaming wrap-up show. Everybody's schedules have finally started to return to normal, so we should be a lot more frequent. That said, there will be no show on September 21st. Other than that, we're fine. No show September 21st, but other than that, we're fine. I'm your host, Mike Barron, a.k.a. Magic Man. As always, we're doing the show live, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. Website's right down there on the bottom of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Audible, Spotify, any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much. Head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. The backlog of all of our shows, including this and the Relic Grind, are up there. Even Snowbound, the old Blizzard show. Yeah, maybe it'll come back. I don't know. We'll see. And all the socials are in the upper right-hand corner. Or join us live sometime. The occasional gaming wrap-up show. Yes, there you go. The occasional weekly gaming wrap-up show. Joining me to talk about all kinds of fun stuff this week while you're clicking like and turning on notifications and everything. Mr. Dom Greco, what's up, sir?
Hello. How are you?
Can you hear us? I noticed that you are in a location where electronics may or may not work at certain points, depending on how the plot dictates.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, for now I can, but I don't know. It depends on the siren. When the siren goes off, sometimes there's some interference.
Can't wait. Also on the line, the World of Warcraft master himself, Mr. Troy Blackburn. What's up, Troy?
I am the master and the ruler of the Warcraft world.
Yes, you got all the wows. I don't need to play. I collected all the wows. I have all the wows in my bag. Troy, it's actually been a while for you on any podcast, on any channel here, changing jobs, doing all that fun stuff. So welcome back. It is good to see you. When we kind of regrouped with Yad and Dom the last couple of weeks, we did one show where we just kind of potpourried it, when we just start talking about whatever game we want to talk about that particular week. So what have you been, besides looking for jobs, changing jobs and all that fun stuff, what have you been playing? What news have you been watching? What games are you interested in? Catch us up on everything on your gaming radar.
Well, Smite 2 is in 24/7, closed alpha access now. So I've been playing a lot of that lately, especially since they have the arena mode in it now. Originally, when it wasn't 24/7, it was all conquest. So it's nice to be able to jump into an arena now and then and just fight and just have a brawl. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've been playing some Predecessor for a first look for MMO Bomb. That'll be coming soon. Marvel Rivals is my new obsession, though. It's not active right now. We're waiting on another beta or a launch, or
you're waiting on a launch
next later this year.
You're waiting on a launch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but they reported no open beta.
No more open betas.
Yeah, they're just gonna go to launch in December? I think it is.
I think it's December. So that sounds like a plan to me, because that game I had a lot of fun in. I'm a big Marvel fanboy, so the IP itself really gets me going. So, but the fact that it was a fun shooter on top of that, and it just really kind of tweaked my interest and really got me going from the first game that I played in it. I was just like, you know what? I really like this. I think this might be for me.
Yeah, Dom looking forward to it as kind of just an Overwatch 2 replacement for a little while. And then obviously I know Dom likes the Marvel license as well, so that certainly helps. Helps.
I mean, we spent a lot of time playing Avengers, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's time I'd like back, but I could just go ahead and give me the time. You can keep the money. Just give me the time back on that one. MMO wise, what are you in, Troy, right now? Or are you literally just spiting it?
I've been mostly smiting it, but I still do dabble in Lord of the Rings Online a little bit. That's my go-to MMO. Recently acquired the Guild Wars 2 expansion, so it's downloaded on the computer, ready to go. But it's just a matter of, am I not going to Smite 2 or am I not going to Lord of the Rings Online tonight?
Yeah, Smite
So
2, I want to get your feedback, actually. There's a couple of things that I covered on MMO Bomb that I thought, hey, this is kind of neat. One is the way they're doing ranked. Like, they've made huge changes between the original Smite and Smite 2 as far as ranked goes. And ranked is in the most recent alpha test, too. What the big change primarily is, and you tell me whether this is good or bad, please, is it does not just go based on your wins anymore. Where in Smite 1, if you won 100 matches, then you were way up there. It didn't matter if you had won 100 matches in 101 matches or if you had won 100 matches in 1,000 matches. It just looked at the fact that you had won 100 matches. Now they've switched things up in Smite 2 to be more focused on win percentage than sheer number of wins. So if you've won 100 matches and you've only played 101 versus 100 and you've played 1,000, that person that's only played 101 is going to be much higher ranked than the other. And then they've also uncapped it on the top end. And that was one of the things that I kind of appreciated, even as not a real active competitive player. The high end has no cap now. You can keep just achieving new skill rating, because you always saw their like top 100 leaderboard get crammed with 88 people at the same rank. And you're like, okay, great. But now this will open that all up where you can just keep going. So a couple rank changes that I think are going to be good for the game, but I'm such an outsider when it comes to competitive MOBA. I'd like your take on it.
Yeah, I don't actually play a lot of competitive myself. I do enjoy watching a lot of competitive, whether it's pros or just, diamond tier, guys play stuff like that, play competitive matches. I do enjoy watching that stuff. I like the win percentage aspect of it. As far as the leaderboards, I don't care. I don't play competitive anyway, and even if I did, I wouldn't be making the top 8 of the leaderboards. I've played a lot of Smite, but that doesn't mean I'm that good at it. But yeah, the win percentage thing I think is way more interesting, because it's not just a get in there, grind out a bunch of wins, do whatever cheese or whatever you have to get a bunch of wins. It's about winning a percentage of the games that you play, and it's how well you play within those games that determines your rank. And I think that's going to be a lot more fair going forward to people who maybe get stuck in lower elo because they aren't able to play as many games,
right?
But they're winning a higher percentage of those games. And maybe we get less complaining of elo hell, even though I've seen some series on YouTube before which are hilarious to watch, where I think Weekend does a series where people say they're stuck in elo hell, so he puts them in against players that are the rank that they say they should be, and 9 times out of 10 they end up just getting absolutely stomped.
Oh yeah, there's tons of Rocket League ones for that I watch. It's like the people that are at your rank versus the rank you say you should be. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I am hardcore mid-diamond to low champ, and I recognize that. And you know where I come in? Mid-diamond to low champ. I'm doing just fine, and the Rocket League ranking system is doing just fine as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. I have been dragged into like champ 2 or champ 3 matches, and I can hold my own defensively just because I have better situational and spatial awareness, because I guess it's from playing hockey more than anything. It's like where I should be at any given point. So, but I just don't stand a chance offensively. Like my mechanics are nowhere near a champ 3 or higher's mechanics. They just aren't. The other thing is, and this is just kind of, God, why did it take so long? You can finally queue into ranked in parties of parties of 2, 3, or 5. Obviously, you can't queue as a party of 1, and you can't queue as a party of 4, because then that would require one solo player to be jammed into your party, and they're separating solo and party queues. So if you're a solo player, Troy, you will not now have the opportunity to be slapped into a party queue that has, a group of 4, a group of 3 and 2 solos, or 2 parties of 2 and you're just going to be queuing with solo players, which I think is the better way to do it if the game's player base can support it. Otherwise, your queue times just go astronomically long, right? And I think Smite 2 will be okay, but I think if you were smaller than Smite is, while that may be an ideal queue, that doesn't work if the player base is too small. So it's just some nice changes. Check them out. Alpha 2, if you're in it. You can buy a Founders Pack and get into the Alpha. It's 24/7 now. But anyway, Troy has talked enough, Dom. Let's talk about World of Warcraft's The War Within. Early access started about 2 weeks ago, a little less. Full launch earlier this week. Dom was on a previous show talking about buying the Epic Edition so that it was the only one that had the early access and all this stuff. I had not even bought the expansion itself, period. What do you got there? It's your green screen's kind of fucking it up.
Oh. It's the, I don't know.
Yeah, what is that?
The invitation. This came with the collector's edition.
Oh, gotcha.
This was my game key.
So I had not even bought the expansion itself yet, let alone the Epic Edition or higher to get the early access. So Dom, early access, I'm sure you're level capped. You're at the whatever the gear cap is right now, ready for Mythic Zeros to open up next week, right?
No,
that's weird. Troy, you know who is level capped?
Who might be level capped, Mike?
And you know who was level capped before early access ended?
Wow.
That would be me. Yeah, I even sent Dom a message because I'd seen him on, and I was like, okay, one, who would have bet money that I would be in early access, period? Because you had to buy the Epic Edition to get into early access. The like digital upgrade wasn't enough. You had to buy like the $90 Epic Edition. And then 2, who would play it enough in early access to be level capped? Now, to be fair, it's not hard to level cap. Particularly in early access, it wasn't. It's actually, ironically, it's a little harder now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I was max level halfway through the second of 4 new zones. Only because the first zone and the second zone, I was banging out all side quests to get the Sojourner achievements as I went. So I completed everything that I could in the first zone. There was like 3 quests that were time gated, so you couldn't get the achievement. And in the second zone, because I was playing like that halfway through the second zone, I was level capped. From beginning to end, if you just ran nothing but the campaign, the new main story, probably take you about 10 hours if you're going along at a good clip and you just ignored side stuff. And if you only did the campaign, you might have to stop and do a few side quests to bang out a level here or there, or polish off a level. The main quest itself will get you pretty close, and it'll take you about 10 to 12 hours if you move at a decent clip. I will say this, man, and I'm curious where you find this. I have been less than enthusiastic about the last few main storylines through World of Warcraft expansions. You and I weren't all that keen on Shadowlands as far as main story goes. You and I were a little more interested in Dragonflight, but then kind of petered out on that one too. Kind of felt lukewarm. Yeah. This might be the best storytelling that World of Warcraft has done in probably at least 4 expansions for me. I enjoyed this story from top to bottom. To bottom. And then, kudos to some friends of ours. The cutscenes have been incredible. And there are some later that are really, really wild. And it was, I enjoyed the main campaign all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still chipping my way through. I'm level 77. I'm like 1 hub through the second zone.
Okay.
I stopped. I did like some delves and I did all the delves in the starting zone, the very first zone. I did like you. I did everything that there was to do in that first zone. And then I got to the second zone. I think I did the first 1.5 quest hubs and a really obnoxious delve that I did not like, the fungal caverns or something. Maybe that was in the first zone. I hated that one.
The poison thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just didn't. I don't
They've
know.
added
I loved the other
Troy.
ones.
They've added delves. And Troy, as an ESO player, I'm sure you know what a delve is. They're a little more complex. There's a little more to them than Elder Scrolls delves, right? Elder Scrolls delves, you kind of just go in because you have a quest there, or you need the skill point from it, and then you beat a boss and you run out. They're a little more involved. Sometimes there's actual quests to go in there, and then when you're in there, there's also a quest sometimes. The thing that I will give World of Warcraft for the delves is that little bit of flexibility. You can run the same delve, Troy, 3 times consecutively, and it's going to be a slightly different experience each of those 3 times. There's either different modifiers, there's a different kind of mini delve story, there's different objectives. It's not, hey, go in and light these 5 candles every single time you come to this delve. So I do appreciate that, and I do like this, smaller solo player dungeony content, even though it's in the context of an MMO.
And the other thing that I'm really enjoying is the solo dungeons, where you go in a dungeon and then you get like 4 NPCs to do this and go through.
Follower dungeons.
Follower dungeon. So, but it's only on like the low tier, like normal. I think I don't think it's available on heroic.
No.
But it's like I'm sitting here going, how has this not been a thing forever? Like this should have been a thing, like.
It's really wild, Troy. You look at this expansion and you're like, delves, that's a good idea. Who's been doing that for a while?
Yeah, right.
Elder Scrolls. Okay. Follower dungeons. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. Who's been doing that forever? Yeah, Final Fantasy XIV has been doing the trust system, and Guild Wars 2 has a version of it too, don't they, Troy? Of doing dungeons with NPC characters?
I don't think so.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh no, they just shanked Dragonflight off of them. That's right.
Yeah.
Blizzard
they took dragon riding and just like, this is ours now.
Yeah. I mean, it's what Blizzard does, right? It's what Blizzard does. The trust
I was
dungeon.
going to say, it sounds like they're getting back to kind of what they used to specialize in, which is borrowing ideas and polishing them up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, the follower dungeons. It's nice if you just want to blitz through the campaign and not have to worry about queuing up or finding. And it's because it's going to be the regular version anyway. You really don't care about the rewards. Like you're off to heroics and mythics for those anyway. They need to do what Final Fantasy did though, Dom, and extend the follower dungeons through the previous expansions. Because my son Torchwick has started playing and he's leveling through Wrath. He picked that as the Chromie expansion to level. And it's unfortunate because he can't queue for those dungeons. Well, I mean, he can, but he's just going to sit in those queues forever. And he's one of those that's like I am, where if there's bits of Arthas / Lich King side story in those dungeons, he wants to see those. He wants to get those. And, I'm going to have to run him through those because follower dungeons just aren't available in anything before Dragonflight. And they weren't initially in Final Fantasy either, to be fair, right? They took a number of updates and expansions to go back and put the trust system in all of those dungeons too. But I think if WoW is going to do it, Troy, then they need to do it for everything. I don't think it should be a just going forward thing for them.
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot more fun for players who are leveling like Torchwick to go back and retroactively put that in the game. I think that would be a good move on their part.
Yeah.
One thing I am not a fan of, Dom, is the time gating. It seems really
You've always had an
weird
issue with
this. No doubt, but it is very weird with this expansion in particular because of the addition of Mythic Zero, right? That kind of being its own thing that's going to release on a time gate, and then the next time gate will be, the Mythic Pluses. But it's very weird, like early access, you couldn't complete the entire War Within campaign. And in fact, when the game launched earlier this week, you still cannot complete the entire War Within expansion campaign. That's going to come next week on the 3rd. along with Mythic 0, along with the Earth and Allied race. That one pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Because you could do like 95% of the achievements needed to get the Earth and Allied race, and it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to finish it until September 3rd, and that was not something they advertised in advance.
There's so many quests like as you're going that says this gives credit toward the Earth and Ally race, and I was joking with our friend Omikins that every time I finish one of those quests, I go, "Oh, I unlocked the Earth and Ally race." And, it's just like kept saying it. Oh, it happened like 17 quests in a row. It's like it's ridiculous. But this has always been a thing, like all the way back from like BFA. Not always, but like as of recently, but like starting with BFA, they really started these time gating of the campaign quests, and it's kind of been a staple all the way through till now. I guess I'm just used to it at this point. I don't. I'm not saying I enjoy it by any stretch of the imagination, but I understand wanting to spread out content so you don't go through it as fast. Because I miss the old days of, like World of Warcraft. You're playing, and then like 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, here's a new dungeon. They're putting in Morden, and then 2 weeks later, it's like here's a new quest chain in Silithus, and it's just like, okay, like what is like. It's just constant updates, and they don't do these small little micro updates anymore.
No, they've switched it to a seasonal model.
Yeah, they do this big thing, but then they split it up, and so it kind of almost feels like the old times again, except it's time gated. And I guess that's why I look at it that way, and I don't hate it as much because I kind of long for having something to log on and do every week. If I only have a couple hours every week and I want to get on, I have something to look forward to. Instead of like. Maybe I have 12 hours one day and I log in and I do everything there is to do. And then I'm bored for the next like 2 weeks waiting for content, So I don't know. I don't mind it.
Not only did somebody on this panel, Troy, get to max level, but he also capped his enchanting as well.
Wow.
I may have been enjoying this expansion a little bit.
Maybe.
So far. And that's kind of the problem. Troy, I know you've never been in like deep into World of Warcraft, but you play other MMOs where you're excited about an expansion and things start out well, but most expansions for MMOs start out well and you're enjoying it because it's new and there's new content and stuff. Where are you 3 weeks later? Right? Before that 1 month sub is about to renew. Where are you then? And then a month later, where are you? Now, raiding is obviously a huge component of this for Dom and I, right? Like, particularly when it comes to World of Warcraft. If we are enjoying the raids, then fuck all, that's fine. We'll come on and we'll raid. And we'll keep playing, and it doesn't matter if we don't enjoy the other stuff. We'll just do exactly what we have to be geared for raids. If that's not there, then I can see me walking away from the War Within. And we've seen that in other games too. Where are you a few weeks down the road? That still has yet to be determined. But I have played World of Warcraft almost every other day. In some cases, a couple days in a row and then a day off since early access started. And I have not played World of Warcraft that way, even when Shadowlands launched and Dragonflight launched. I played them. I got to max level. We did our raiding, Dom, but I did not play every day.
Right.
I am enjoying the breadth of content available to do at endgame for your Great Vault and stuff like that. You're not feeling Mythics, or you're not geared enough for Mythics. You don't like the pressure of Mythics. Cool. Well, we're going to add a Mythic 0, and we're going to take away that timer but give you the challenge. So which do you want? If the timer and stuff is too aggressive for the way you want to play, but you do want the challenge of harder bosses, we're going to give you that. If you want a smaller experience, dungeon-esque experience, we're going to give you delves. All of these things, by the way, contribute to your Great Vault. Are you out in the world doing world quests? Are you out there doing PvP? Are you out there doing raiding? Do you want to farm different renown for different gear and upgrades too? There's just such a breadth of content. They started that a couple expansions ago, and it has just continued to grow, and it's done really well here. If the raids are there for me, it might be the best expansion for me in like the last 4. I think the last one that I really, really enjoyed, and maybe it's not everybody's favorite, but I loved raiding in Shadowlands. Loved the raiding, but that was basically it. As far as top to bottom expansion, it probably, Dom, for me was Legion. Was the last time that I was like, this is awesome, and played it a lot. So it's good to see. And it's the beginning of 3, right? The World Soul Saga, 3 smaller expansions in a faster period of time. Chris Metzen back behind the helm. It's a good start. It's a good start. I'm going to give it a thumbs up so far. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, so far, like, I'm not all the way through the story. I haven't been spoiled. I haven't gone seeing a lot of the spoilers and stuff for it. My initial impression was going in, there's too much dwarf stuff, right? I'm Horde. I play Horde. I don't care about the Alliance. I hate it. Like, I feel like I'm trapped in Ironforge, right? So
yeah,
just
definitely.
the aesthetic of that, I'm not feeling. But then after you finish that first zone, you start getting into like what appears to be Journey to the Center of the Earth, right? That's the feel that we have going on through the rest of this expansion. That I'm excited for. So like I'm still trucking through, I'm still going through, but I don't like to skip around. So I'm like, finish this zone, then I'll move to the next zone. But I think I might actually step away and just do campaign straight here through, because I'm 77. I think I can probably
you'll
hit
burn
the next
it.
level on campaign alone. So I think I'm gonna do that just to get through the story and then go back, take my time through the rest of it, just so I can make sure I'm caught up with everything.
It is very diverse, right? You do have that dwarven stuff at the beginning, but then, like you said, and obviously this isn't going to be spoiling anything for you. It goes further deep, and you start with the Nerubians, right? They're a big factor in
that's
this
the first raid
expansion, and so you do have quite a diverse landscape of zones and races and things to interact with some very neat characters along the way. There's already like 1 or 2 of my favorites that I'll be watching, and some great cutscenes. Troy, you don't care. Cool.
But I do want to say, like, I am also looking forward to the raids, right? Like, I've always been, like you said, always been a fan of the raids. Even like you look back at some of the expansions, like as much as we despised Shadowlands, like I liked the concept of Shadowlands.
I loved Castle Nathria.
I didn't like the way the story played out, but for raids, Castle Nathria is like one of my favorite raids from expansions in a very long time.
Yep.
I think it was a close like follow up to original Naxxramas for me. Like I really, really enjoyed Castle Nathria. So yeah, the raids are gonna make or break it for me. As they typically always do. And I'm hoping it's more than just a one-off raid that I enjoy. I hope I enjoy them all.
Same. We'll keep giving you updates as we go through it. Also, this past week, and some of these topics we're going to hit are like a week or so old, but I just wanted to make sure we talked about them because I thought they were interesting, and it's my damn show. The Nintendo Direct happened this week, and it was actually a 2-for-1 Direct. It was a third-party thing and then an indie thing. So there were 2 different parts. We're not going to review every single thing that was here, but I do want to hit some of our favorites. I'm showing one of mine. We'll come back to it in a minute, though. Troy, what are you seeing? Again, you're not like a Switch guy, but not all of these shown on the Nintendo Direct are exclusive to the Switch. They just happen to be showcased there. What'd you see that you liked?
I like seeing games like Civ 7 and things like that coming to the Switch. I think games like that would be really interesting to play on a handheld console and really be able to enjoy it.
Are you getting Civ 7? It comes out in what, February, I think? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be playing. Yeah, I'll be playing the next Civ game. For
I
sure.
didn't know you were a big Civ guy.
I've skipped the last couple now.
So you're kind of a Civ guy.
yeah. I'm gonna jump back into it because it's been a while since I've played a Civ game and really sunk my teeth into it. I think 4 was the last one I really played with any substantial amount, but 3 was the one that I lost like half my life into for a long time. So. But yeah, seeing things like that, and then looking at things like if I had a Switch that I would play the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection.
Oh, that's awesome, isn't it?
That looks super exciting. Like that looks like it would be really cool.
Sorry, typing here. So is that going to be available for PC? Yes, it is. That's what I was checking. I knew it was going to be on PlayStation as well, but Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classic coming September 12th, $50. You can play it on Steam, Troy. There you go. You don't have to buy a Nintendo Switch.
Good.
Obviously, I'm very, very happy, and this one's already available. The Castlevania collection, the Dominus collection.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Nintendo DS Castlevania. So these are if you've never played any of them, they are in the exact Symphony of the Night mold, right? As the PlayStation 2 started taking things into 3D and them trying to make Castlevania 3D work, not counting the Nintendo 64 stuff. On the handheld side, they very much stuck to the same Symphony of the Night formula, and you had Dawn of Sorrow, A Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. All three of those were for the Nintendo DS. And as much as I'm a Nintendo DS or handheld guy, these were never games I wanted to play on those. Like, if I'm going to play a Castlevania, I'm going to be playing them so long, Dom. I don't want to be staring at a handheld screen. That said, Metallica fan just said it. This might be a Steam Deck purchase for me. As I just say, I don't want to play it on a handheld. Hey, if I buy it on Steam, I can play it on both, right? I can play it on both. Right. And it's already available. These are already out if you want to buy them. They are on multiple platforms as well. So it's not limited to Switch or anything like that. And it's $25. $25. There's going to be a physical edition too if you're like me and you really, really like I'm watching this shut up, Troy. Rolling your eyes at me. When they were showing this, I was like, oh, this is great. Oh, this is fantastic. I'll finally, because I'd never completed these games. I just didn't want to stare at the DS screen that long. And so I'm like, oh, this is great. I'll finally get a chance to finish these. I know some of them have some really great story bits and things like that. Just being a Castlevania nut, I know the lore. I just didn't see it. So I'm going to go see it for the first time. And then when they were like, yeah, limited edition or limited run's going to be doing a physical edition, I'm like, holy shit, is this catered to me? Like, did Nintendo go, what would Mike like? Because, yes. So pre-orders for that start in September. I'm not going to be waiting till September to buy this. I'm amazed I haven't bought it yet. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. I'm not going to spend too much time here, obviously. If you watch... if you watch the Relic Grind, you already know that I'm super pumped about all of those. There were so many indie titles, Dom, that and some of them looked interesting, but then there was like just so much fluff where you're like, why are we giving 4 minutes to this? Like, I don't know. And then we had some other bigger ones, right? Lego Horizon Adventures, Rune Factory, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. There was a lot of good stuff in the show.
Yeah.
What'd you like, Dom?
So nothing. I'm gonna say nothing really caught my eye. There's nothing here that screams.
Not even Five Nights.
No, I played that on the PC, and that's actually I have that on my VR headset. Right, I'd much rather play that in VR than anything you're gonna do on a flat screen. It's just a whole different experience. And then the Ruin DLC for the Security Breach game that's been out for over a year now on PC. So to me, it's not that exciting. The one thing that did catch my eye, even though I don't want to play it, it looked really interesting, was the last reveal of the indie one that they made like a big deal about Pizza Tower, right? And it's like it seemed ridiculous to me that they're like doing this whole bit about, oh, where'd you get that pizza? Oh, from that tower over. It's like, and then like you see the thing, it's like hand drawn. It reminds me of like if somebody was to do like a Cuphead style video game, right? A platformer, but make it Sonic the Hedgehog, and then you drew it when you were in like 3rd grade. That's what it looks like. And it just seemed really, really interesting to me. Watching it, I have no interest in playing it. It just caught my eye. That's really all I have to say.
I'm trying to look something up here real quick. Because there was one thing shown that was a long time coming. And I can tell you exactly how long. But where is it? Is it this? No.
No?
I'm looking. Hold on. I'm trying to find when I joined a particular Facebook group. Groups.
People still use
membership activity. Shut your mouth. Let's scroll back.
You got to stop like DMing me the show notes through Facebook, Mike. I don't use it anymore.
Okay. Apparently, my activity history does not go far enough back. I have belonged to a Facebook group since sometime prior to 2016.
Okay.
Called the Suikoden Revival Group. Because I'm a fucking adult. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster got shown off. Now, we knew these were coming. Like, they didn't just announce these.
Right.
We finally knew these were coming a couple of months ago. March 6th. And if you have never played Suikoden 1 or 2, and you like RPGs, you have to play
turn-based combat.
You have to play these. So happy. I guess I can leave that group now, right? Like, it has been revived. There's no reason for the
revived. Mission accomplished.
We did it. Like, there were I never signed any of them, but like there were petitions like all the time in that group. They were like, we're gonna sign a petition here, and I'm like, I ain't signing shit. I don't even really know why I'm in this. I don't think I ever said a fucking thing in the group. Never, not once. But I was like, I'm in favor of this. Sure, I'll join it. I think I can finally leave it. Before we hit some miscellaneous news, have either of you played Black Myth Wukong?
No,
I have not.
I mean, it is like all over the damn news this week, right?
Yeah.
It's like every fucking thing I clicked on had some story. And then I think there was like the whole pre-release controversy stuff with different news outlets writing articles about the developers and disparaging things and whether those were true or false, and multiple articles after that. But man, this game is killing it on Steam. Like it's like the first mega Chinese hit. Like mega. It looks gorgeous. I don't know if it would be for me. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm not sure it's a game for me, but I know like a lot of YouTubers that I follow, they've all jumped in on it at some point and played at least a little bit of it. And I'm just like, golly, like this really is like a big phenomenal thing that is kind of taken over a little bit. And do I want to be the guy who misses out on that or not at the end of the year to be able to talk about it?
You got some FOMO, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
It hit 2.4 million all-time peak users on Steam. That's just on Steam.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a little under 200,000 people playing it. The 24-hour peak was just under 1.5 million. Its all-time peak, 2.4 million. PC and PlayStation.
I'm the opposite of Troy. I will wait until the game dies and everybody's forgotten about it, and then I'll pick it up and be like, "Oh my god, this game's amazing! You guys ever hear this?" And everybody's like,
"I'll get a
what
DM every 48 hours." Why haven't you told me about this? What are you talking about? You were on a podcast where we talked about why it isn't coming to Xbox yet.
I message you on Facebook Messenger.
So apparently, by the way, if you're wondering why this isn't on Xbox, the team at Game Science released a statement saying, we're currently optimizing the Xbox Series X and S version to meet our quality standards, so it won't release simultaneously with the other platforms. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We will announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards. And okay, reasonable, right? I'm sure Xbox wasn't happy. I'm sure Microsoft wasn't thrilled. Wait, our version's going to be delayed? That sucks. That sucks. But is that really the case? Because according to Forbes, Paul Tassi over at Forbes, there's actually a different reason according to his sources, and he has tried to validate multiple times those sources and tends to believe them through his validation, that says it's actually an exclusivity deal that is keeping the game off of the Xbox for now. Off of the Xbox for now. Now, that kind of aligns with something that Microsoft said way back before the game was getting ready to come out. Microsoft's statement at that time was, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We can't comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that. Like, that specifically mentioned deals made with other platform holders, which would kind of indicate some type of exclusivity deal, Troy. And that's a really freaking weird thing for the devs to come out and say, oh, yeah, it's optimization, if it is an exclusivity deal.
Yeah, normally we actually, that's usually people are pretty straightforward about those exclusivity deals. They're usually getting paid for them, obviously, and they're usually pretty forthcoming. They're not usually sheepish like that about them. If we have a deal like that in place, and come out and say, well, it's just optimization and stuff like, you don't get that a lot. So it's unusual to be hearing these reports that there is a deal in place where it's exclusive to PlayStation right now, or not on Xbox right now, and to hear what the devs are saying, it's a little weird and a little contrarian. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if there is a deal in place. That those sort of things just happen in this day and age. But to hear them be kind of sheepish about it is a little weird.
Yeah, well, and then things get a little weirder, Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Because then over on his podcast, on his show, Jeff Grubb says no. Over on the Game Mess Decides podcast, he says no, there's no exclusivity deal. That is highly unlikely. I think if you look at it, when has Sony ever made a marketing deal to keep something exclusive and not shouted to the rooftops about it? So it's just strange. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's just strange. I mean, there could be a lot of different angles here. And he kind of attributes that maybe there's a delay on the Xbox version from a quality standpoint, like the devs say. And that's mainly due to Sony kind of helping out with the bills, Dom. And so maybe they focused on the Sony PlayStation version first, because Sony had some type of arrangements in the development cycle where they were lending a lot of support, and whether that's resources or money doesn't matter. And so that there was just naturally more of a focus on the PlayStation version. So it was ready to release, and the Xbox was X months behind and would require a little work. So who knows what the hell's actually going on? It could be what the devs said it was, just a quality issue.
Yeah, I mean, that seems the most likely, because as they said, Sony would shout it from the rooftops. They've never been shy about that at all. Like, they will tell you straight up. The only factor that I could consider in this scenario is because it's a Chinese publisher. There might be something in the contract that is not typically done here in the States when we make these kind of exclusivity deals. There might be something in there where they can't even talk about it. So
Metallica fan bringing up an interesting point too, right? The Series S always kind of tends to cause problems for some of these higher resource games. Baldur's Gate 3, Metallica fan bringing up, right? Like, that was the first game that got an exception to has to run the exact same way on both systems, because they just tried for months and couldn't get the co-op to work. The way it works on the Series X. So I don't know, Troy. I think I would like to play it, but I also feel like this is one I would rather watch. So I think I'm gonna be with Dom, and I'm gonna wait until it's like $15 in a humble bundle 2 years from now or something, and then I'll be like, oh, this is fucking great. Why wasn't I playing it? So if you play it, let us know. Let's hit up some miscellaneous news here. If you've been waiting for Blue Protocol, the MMORPG out of Bandai Namco, Troy, what a face, Troy. I got to go to just the Troy shot there. Looked like you were trying to eat your chin.
Good old Blue Protocol.
Yeah, don't wait anymore. The global release of Blue Protocol has been officially canceled. And the Blue Protocol version that is already released in Japan, that we've talked about on this show a couple of different times, underperforming in its home country, that is going to be sunset. They're closing that one down January 18th. Ironically, the same day that they made this announcement, that also got an update. So, yay. You got some bugs fixed. But the game's closing January 18th. 2015 in Japan, no global release anywhere. And the official announcement, excuse me, goes a little something like this. I'm not going to read the entire thing. As a result, we've also canceled our plans to release a Western version of the game in collaboration with Amazon Games. We've enjoyed a strong relationship with Amazon Games throughout the development of Blue Protocol, and both of our teams are disappointed that we will not be able to deliver the game to players around the world. We know there's been great anticipation for Blue Protocol since the first announcement of the game. We wanted to deliver an experience that is like stepping into the world of anime, and we've been challenging ourselves to create a world where each and every player can enjoy adventures as the main character of the anime. We've worked hard to prepare this for release. However, we've come to the conclusion that it will not be possible to provide a service that satisfies all of you. We deeply apologize for the sudden announcement. There's an announcement, Troy.
You know, looking back at it, it was always one that, you know, I didn't think was going to be like my game or anything like that. But it was interesting to watch, you know, based on the art style and the combat looked like it could be visceral and interesting. But to hear that the obviously there are system issues, there are gameplay issues where long term they're not retaining players and really getting new players in at any point. It sounds like they're getting bad word of mouth. They're not getting, you know, good reviews, anything like that. So to hear them cancel it outright, it's a little sad because it's one of those games where I was like, you know what? Like I said, it wasn't going to be my game, but it was something where I was going like, you know, I'll probably dive into that and just check it out and see what it was like.
It's just such a weird announcement. Like, we just realized that we can't make a game that's going to make all of you happy, so fuck it, we're burning it down. Like, just so weird. We can't make a game that everybody's going to love? Oh, then why make it at all? Like,
just screw it.
I don't. So, obviously, we've talked about it on this show before, Dom. I've been kind of skeptical about Blue Protocol. I was looking forward to it. I did have the opportunity to test and play the English version through Amazon. Once, maybe twice. I don't remember which. I would have had very similar experiences because nothing carried over between the two tests. It was okay. Like, and it's what I told Troy before. It was okay. Messing with the elemental,
overwhelmingly mediocre.
Yeah, you know, as Takal famously said about Forspoken, it's a tuna fish sandwich. You know, I enjoyed it while I was eating it, and then if you ask me what I had for lunch a week from now, I probably wouldn't remember. Right? It was very much like that. The elemental combat and stuff like that was kind of neat. It was a neat little system. There were some quests that I thought, oh, that's really forward viewing of you. I'd sent one to a friend that I will keep quiet because this was breaking NDA. So I'm not going to share who I sent stuff to. But there was a side quest, a totally optional side quest, where a character was one gender and through a series of quests became what they wanted to be, a different gender. And I said, okay, that's rather liberal of you for, you know, including that type of content in your MMO. Totally optional. And it wasn't like an in-your-face, you know, it wasn't like pushing agendas. Like, I didn't get any political feel off of it. It just kind of was the message of be whoever you want, whatever that looks like. And I appreciated that being there. And then 2 weeks after I was done, I could not tell you anything about the main story. Like if you said, hey, what's the beginning of Blue Protocol story? If you asked me that right now, I could not tell you. I didn't test this a year ago. I mean, I don't remember the exact dates, Troy, but it wasn't a year ago or 2 years ago or anything like that. It was just fairly mediocre. I don't think it would have sold gangbusters, and it was going to be free to play and all that fun stuff. I feel like the biggest thing was the way it was received in Japan. Because I'm sure Bandai Namco was looking at that market and looking at this game and saying, if this doesn't do well here, it's not going to do well anywhere. Right? This is a heavily anime-influenced game by a Japanese company being published in Japan with a ton of marketing and anticipation built in. And then when they dropped it and it started underperforming, they probably panicked, Dom. They probably panicked.
I feel like you're in it for that long. You spent all this development time on it to not even try to get something back from it is more of a waste than what than shutting it down.
The problem is, though,
because then you kind of end up with a blessed situation where we keep getting everybody else's garbage because they're trying to recoup costs and stuff on it.
Well, you also have that it may not be their decision, right?
Sure.
You might have a situation, Troy, where it's Amazon that says, we see how it's doing in Japan. We don't want to shoulder that risk. And now Bandai Namco's in a position where it's like, can we self-publish globally? And if we can't, do we even leave the Japanese market open? And I'm speculating on all of this. I have no inside knowledge that Amazon is the one that said to Bandai Namco X, Y, or Z. I'm just talking through different scenarios. It's very different if Bandai Namco was going to be the global developer and publisher. Then I think I would agree with you, Dom, where it's like, why don't you just pump it out then at this point and see what happens? But if there's other factors there, like a third party in a publishing deal, I don't know if the control is always yours. I will say this is a bit of another black eye, Troy, for Amazon. It may not be their fault at all, but it's yet another game that Amazon was going to publish and or promote that never came to market.
And actually I was going to bring that up because I've already seen people say, oh, Amazon failed again, typical Amazon. And I'm just like, obviously the public opinion is going to be Amazon failed. But that's not actually what happened.
No,
it's not their fault. They never had their shot to publish the game and see what their version would do, or the version they published would do. So it's not an Amazon failure, but the court of public opinion is saying otherwise right now, and it's just pile on Amazon time right now.
Tetradox in chat says, scrolling YouTube once and came across a video about Blue Protocol's devs fumbling class balancing. Yes. Making a meta environment with certain weapons and the player base being unhappy. It was at that moment I knew localization was doomed. Yeah, and all of those things are valid. There absolutely were huge variances in classes in testing. Again, I didn't play the Japanese version, so I don't know what has improved since my testing, but I can validate exactly what you are saying there. On the Amazon front, yeah, I'm with you, Troy. I don't think they really deserve much of a black eye on this besides maybe a meme of everything you touch never releases. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Throne and Liberty now, if you're watching what Amazon Games is doing, right? Throne and Liberty did just get delayed, only by a couple of weeks, but it did get delayed. And Amazon's going to be the carrier of that, making changes to it like they do with Lost Ark so that certain things in the Eastern versions don't make it West. We'll see. We'll see. Either of you interested in this? Oh, hold on. I skipped one. Fucking Bloodlines 2 is delayed again. God, shut up, Troy.
My name Mike. I want vampire game now.
I hate you so much. It was supposed to be out this
Give
fall.
me vampire game.
It was supposed to be out this fall. Remember, it was supposed to be out a while ago, and then they just said, hey, we're going to give this to an entirely new developer, and they went ahead and did that. Then it was supposed to come out from that new developer this fall. Now it's not coming out till the first half of 2025. Shut up, Troy.
When it gets delayed again.
Shut up. I don't know why I do this show anymore. I hate all of you. Are either of you interested in this? I'm not. But it's a free-to-play shooter, so I figured I'd get your opinion on it. This is Spectre Divide. They're making big claims about this one. Shroud is actually involved in helping be an outside. Well, actually, I think he's getting paid to do it because they officially call him a consultant and everything. Mm-hmm. This is a tactical shooter, party 3v3 competitive shooter, and kind of its, unique aspect is its duality thing. You can throw a puck, a little metal thing, anywhere you want as you're running around, and it spawns a second version of your character, and you can toggle between the two. So you can use it to get to different locations. You can use it to just hide it, and you'll get a warning when your shadow, your specter, hears something or is under attack. So you get an idea of people running by other areas. That's kind of its like gimmick. It was pretty neat to watch a competitive match or two, but I don't know. They're making bold claims. Their press release this week said, your next 10,000 hour obsession is launching September 3rd. Dom's shaking his head. You seem dubious.
Anything that tells me how long I'm going to play it is wrong.
This one does not look all that interesting to me. I'm not a big fan of the art style of it. Everybody having the duality aspect to play around with. I don't know. That just sounds like a gimmick. I don't know at the end of the day how big of a gameplay difference that's going to make. Of course, it could be a big deal and it could be, game changing and it could be innovative, but it just sounds like a gimmick to try to set themselves apart in an overcrowded market. And I think that they're just going to find themselves overshadowed by the games that people are already playing and aren't willing to necessarily make the switch. You got that sunk cost fallacy in the game that they play.
Yeah,
it's funny that you brought up the
fan of the cell shading.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say,
both of you said that. Yeah, and that is the number one thing. I've written this up a couple of times for MMO Bomb and talked about it on various things. And the feedback that I see the most in the comments and everything is, I don't like the art style. I don't like the art style. I don't like the art style.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yep.
And I mean, you got to sit there and look at it. Like, there's something for being stylistic. Right? Sure. A more stylized art approach. But I don't think I've seen a shooter in a while where every time I write it up, invariably, I'm going to see at least one or two comments that are like, I don't like the art style.
And I know I'm in the minority here, but I also didn't like Borderlands for that reason. I'm not a fan of the art style of that game. The game looked great. It feels like it played great.
Borderlands 4 is coming out, though.
Yeah.
Boy, we'll talk about the worst time for them to have revealed that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gamescom opening night live. It's the very first thing they show off is a teaser for Borderlands 4. The week after, it absolutely gets rocked at the box office.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The Borderlands movie sucks. I'm sure you're surprised by this.
No.
Oh,
I have a friend that went and he said that he almost fell asleep in the theater.
It's not like we haven't talked about it on this show multiple times going, why are you making a movie of this? And what is up with your casting choices? A few quick hits I'm just going to give you. Skyforge, if you remember that MMO at all, it's getting a new home. My.Games is done with it. They have sold it off to Innova. Specifically, they have sold it off to Innova company Sarl, based in Luxembourg. They're going to take over publishing duties. I did ask them directly, is it still going to be developed by Alad's team? No, it is not. Innova is going to take over development too. And I asked, is there going to be new content, or is the development team just going to be cycling through seasons? Their reply is, we are considering the development of new content after a successful migration. The Skyforge team will report any updates on the game's website. So dead game is dead.
Mode.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. That's the way I read that reply too. I was like, yeah, if you like Skyforge, sorry. There's a 1v1 dating sim called Pick Me that is out. And if you think that sounds interesting, where Dom and I could sit there and actually type and chat to an NPC waifu and try and get him to pick us, and we could say nasty things about the other one, we could be charming. Okay, fine. It's not my type of game, but I could definitely see a market for that. There are definitely people that would play that. Don't fucking play this one. Do not play this one. Please don't. The press release just gave me the information I just gave you. And you're probably thinking, that might not be for me, but there are people that love dating games. Oh, come on, don't. Tetro, don't.
You could date the game itself.
It's an AI-powered game. And okay, fine. I see what they're trying to do there, right? Have the AI interpret language and come up with responses and hide it behind the veneer of waifu and husbandos, right? That's great. And if you buy the game, they even encourage you, hey, play with a friend. We're going to give you 2 copies because it's a one-on-one game. Okay. Yeah, everything that was pretty okay. Might not be for me, but sounds fine so far for somebody that might be into this. It requires the use of tokens. When you buy the game, they give you enough tokens, and I had to dig into the FAQ for this. It was not included in the press release at all, as I'm sure you can understand why when I tell you why. You could play this game for about 30 to 40 hours with the tokens that come with the purchase of the game. What are the tokens used for? Well, using an AI that isn't yours isn't cheap. So you need the tokens to actually play. Every single thing you say to the AI NPC requires the spending of a token. And if you don't have any tokens, you can't start your next one-on-one match. Now, mercifully, I guess, it will let you finish a match if you run out of tokens mid-match, but you won't be able to start a new one. And you have to cash up purchase these tokens to continue to play so that you are subsidizing their usage of AI. The game is also, Troy, limited by the number of times or the number of copies they can even sell. Because they can't be bandwidthing the hell out of the AI tool that they're using. So they have to limit the number of people that could ever play this game at one time. Yeah. It was the first article that caught your eye when you were on MMO Bomb. Oh, God, Tetro. All that was hidden in the FAQ. None of that, the limiting of the tokens, like none of that was in the press release. They were just like, date your NPC.
That's how a lot of AI games work, unfortunately.
It's literally Chat GPT with an anime girl splash screen in front of Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little optimistic though. Alan Wake and Control are getting TV shows and movies, although we did just see what happened with the Borderlands one. So
I was going to say the Borderlands situation makes me a little nervous, but at the same time, seeing an Alan Wake TV show or a movie or something like that sounds exciting.
Control's one of my favorite recent games still. It's so good. I can't wait for the sequel.
It really depends on how they go in with it, right? If they go in and they stick to the source material and they stay close to it, like that's all fans want of the game, right? That's all they want. Like you look at how successful we were with The Last of Us, right? And they stayed very true to the games. The only like detail that they changed was making it an airborne thing into like a fungal thing, and that tiny little tweak was to get more FaceTime on camera. So, Pedro Pascal wasn't behind a mask the entire,
Right.
series
Right.
again for, not 2 shows in a row for him. But like that little tiny tweak didn't actually alter the story all too much. It still, they got it across. It translated very well. It worked. If you stay true to that and keep that like what people loved about the game consistent, and you don't stray off and try to tell your own original story in the game's universe that's like loosely tied to it, you'll be fine. Just stick to the story, stick to the game.
I hope so. To Cal
Follow along.
asking this basically the same question: is it, is it going to be based on the actual game or Night Spring? We don't know yet. We don't know. There's a deal in place so that Annapurna can will make, partnered with Remedy, produce award-winning Control and Alan Wake video game franchises being converted to film, television, and other audio-visual formats. We don't know yet the exact details. We'll see. Yeah, I think we talked about GameInformer, didn't we, Dom? Did we talk about that? GameInformer closing a couple of weeks ago.
Sounds familiar. Like I knew of it. I just can't remember if we talked about it.
Yeah,
on the show
and then
or
the
not.
employees kind of trying to take over social media because the goodbye message was probably AI generated the way it's written. And then immediately just GameStop shut down all the social media and scrubbed the website like the day after. What a fucking mess.
I like that one article. I think it was Zach was making a point in there. Like he's like, yeah, I'd love to like show my first interview and share it with Grant Kirkhope. And it was like something about GoldenEye, and I sat there for a second. I was like, oh yeah, Grant Kirkhope did the music for GoldenEye, and then I went, the title screen, not the title screen, the watch
pause.
screen
Yeah,
music,
the pause screen.
that watch screen music it's low key like the best video game music of all time.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
absolutely. Absolutely. I saw a meme literally yesterday that was like, your mom calls you because the bagel bites are ready, and then you hear this banger, and it was somebody pausing to GoldenEye to go get their bagel bites, and it duns, dun, 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 dun. I'm like,
it's so good.
Such a good song.
So good.
Last bit here, Silent Hill 2 remake. We're getting closer. We're getting closer.
This is one I'm actually going to play. I promise you I'm going to play it.
I'm going to play it too. Troy's not.
No.
Are you, Troy?
Oh, shoot, yeah, I am.
Are you actually
Heck
going to
yeah,
play?
I am.
Yeah?
Heck yeah, I am, man. Silent Hill, that was the inspiration for the haunt that I ran for 13 years was Silent Hill. I used Silent Hill as I've told everybody, go watch the movies, play the games. This is what we're doing.
You're like, hey, you want to see who I totally ripped off?
Yes.
Go check this stuff out.
I did everything but call my haunt Silent Hill.
We're getting close. We're getting close. Some publications have already been able to play like the first 2 to 5 hours of the game, and they all kind of seem to be saying the same thing, Dom, that it's like they are enjoying what's going on, and they're, it didn't blow them away, but it didn't disappoint them. They're cautiously optimistic. They're having pleasant experiences with it. It is staying true to the original source material in most ways. I have seen odd headlines that was like, they're not sure who's remaking who. Like if Bloober is remaking Silent Hill, or if Silent Hill is remaking Bloober, but which I thought was a pretty cute headline. But I think it's also one that has no SEO value because it's very cerebral for Silent Hill 2 fans. But
yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait.
Let's go do games of the week. We end every episode of Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all three of us are going to give you a game. Could be a video game, board game, mobile game, card game, something we're played in the past, or haven't played, but think you should just check out. And you let us know in the comments who gave the best recommendation, and you recommend one of your own. Dom, we're going to start with you.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I have 2. I need to just touch on one really quickly because we talked about it was getting a big update, and I was excited for it, which is Hunt
Showdown.
Yes, Hunt Showdown got its big update. It's basically a sequel wrapped into the original game. The gameplay itself is amazing. I love it. The new map is incredible. I have no complaints with the game itself. The UI is the biggest pile of dog shit I've ever seen in my life. And if it wasn't for the fact that they are running a limited time Battle Pass tied event, I would not be playing it because the UI is that terrible. It is astronomically frustrating to get into playing, like setting up your hunter to get into the match in the first place. Once you're in, you're good. But it's like it went from being, for me, a literal 15-second process to about a minute and a half because the UI is ridiculous to navigate. So just want to comment on that real quick. The game I've actually been playing recently, I just got like last week, and I've already pumped 40 hours into it. I know I'm late to the party, but Helldivers 2. Really been enjoying it.
So good. I literally have a fucking Facebook message from a Dom Greco
Yeah.
that says, "Hello, did you hear about Black Myth Wukong?" Troy, what's your game of the week?
Unfortunately, mine's one you can't play right now, but it's all I've been able to think about. It's constantly on my mind. I can't wait for it to launch. And it's Marvel Rivals. I'm constantly watching stuff on YouTube about it. People doing guides and breakdowns, and we've already seen. We've already got some playtesting out there of 2 new heroes, Captain America and Bucky, are already on test servers. So some folks are getting to play some of those and talk about that and what they're going to add to the game and change to the game and map revamps and things like that are happening before launch. So it's Marvel Rivals for me. Absolutely. It's what I'm waiting for. Smite 2 is exciting, a lot of fun, but Marvel Rivals for some reason right now, we'll see long term, does it keep my interest like this? But right now, man, from the time I got to play it, I'm just hooked on it.
I'll keep mine simple. I'll give it to The War Within. It's so far so much better than the last few World of Warcraft expansions for me, and that's a pleasant surprise. And there's something nostalgic about being home again. Now, how long I stay at home, we'll see. But for this week, I'll give the game of the week to The War Within. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll see you next week with another show. Until then, Troy, where can everybody find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at NoobFridge.
Dom.
You can find me down below at It's Zista.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, a stream, Final Fantasy, trading card game, live locals, and more. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.